Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 7.7 Kings of Killers. We are back. Hello, Darnell. We are back. We're back, Darnell. Darnell? Darnell? We're back.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Sorry, my internet went out literally right as you were like, welcome back. What all did you say?
I've just been saying we are back again and again.
Sorry,
We are back.
You might have to edit that down. Yeah, sorry guys, my internet fucked out, but we're back. And we're here with Aetheral Space. Last time, Mr. Fix was framed for the murder of, I forgot his name. Jacques. And Carla was like, I'm gonna fucking crucify him if you don't figure this out, Dragon. It's your problem. So then Dragon caught our Bubble Max and King Rico, and Rico's like, yeah, I didn't do nothing. And Dragon was like, indubitably. And they're trying to find the killer.
But then...
And did I miss anything?
Yes, then Assassin tried to kill Rico, and then everyone got a message about the Hunter game.
Oh, yeah. About the hunting!
The major event of the chapter, I would say.
Is it a Tanhony series if there's no game type like
this
battle
guy
royale?
takes this from a sample size of 2.
No, you wanted to do a similar thing for a while. Wait, what was the other sample size? Havoc Moon game. Then there was this, and I remember for a while you wanted to do a similar power, and it was like something to do with beasts.
Oh, that was a joke, though. That was an Among Us joke.
That's what you said, but you brought it up a lot. I think you wanted to.
No, I brought it up because it was funny Among Us.
Mm-hmm. This guy loves his games. He's a Squid Game aficionado.
I'm the king of games.
But yeah, that's
my conscient ability, my Millennium Puzzle.
Oh my god. In order to free Mr. Fix from the Elephant House, you must collect 10 star chips,
I put Mr. Fix into a monster card.
That actually should be how they do the hunting game, is like you collect star chips by killing elephants, and when you collect enough, you get to go to Magic Kingdom. And they're like, your reward. Okay. 9 hours earlier. Working as a security guard made for long, boring nights, but if you were careful about which jobs you took, it was easy work. In terms of difficulty, the night shift for overnight passenger lines was well on the easy end, with all the passengers staying overnight at hotels or having reached their destination at the Cradle, and the fact that a passenger liner was much too big to be stolen by some punk. The only real concerns were stowaways, and those were never really much trouble. That is one giant sentence. You might want to chop that up. Still annoying to deal with, though. Graham sighed as he saw the minor alert pop up on the monitor of his workstation. An unregistered heat signature had been detected in the cargo hold, so either someone was trying to steal some luggage, or, more likely, a stowaway had popped their head out of their den. Either way, he had to deal with it. He grunted as he sat up from the cheap chair the company had provided for his little security booth. He wasn't as young as he used to be, and movements that previously would have been completely natural for him now took conscious effort. "Gonna check it out," he said out loud, only to realize a second later that was pointless. He was alone, after all. Originally, they'd done these night watches in pairs, but a couple of months ago, the company decided it was more cost-effective just to have a single watchman for these late shifts. Yeah, that's not gonna fucking spark trouble. He had access to the security automatics if he needed them to deal with any hoodlums trying to steal. Is this the guy from the Word Farm Carnival? But to be honest, they rarely ever worked either. At the time of the changes, Graham had done his best to kick up a fuss, but without a union to stand behind him, all making himself inconvenient would accomplish was getting himself fired. Still, he wasn't helpless. I wouldn't use himself twice. Still, he wasn't helpless. Graham kept a steady hand on his sidearm, still in its holster, as he stepped outside of the security booth. It was just a stun pistol, but he was fairly confident in his accuracy. He headed to the range for recreational purposes a couple of times a month, after all.
Yeah,
At this time, the massive
my man.
This is quite the setup for the character you're going to kill to, like, show someone else's power level. At this time, the massive hangar containing the passenger liner, the Woven Knot. So are these liners boats? I'm a little confused.
It's like a starship.
Okay. The Woven Knot was mostly pitch black, illuminated only by the low-power lights built into the ceiling. Click! A cone of light spread out from the lamp on the collarbone of Graham's uniform, spreading over the entrance ramp to the Woven Knot. Before stepping inside, he checked his script. The heat alert had disappeared, so whatever stowaway was in the ship had gone back into their little hidey hole. I need just a second. Windows is bothering me, and I need to set it to do the update later.
No problem.
Sorry, you keep the audience entertained.
So, I'm going to kill Darnell today.
No, you're
Why?
You're not sure.
Because it's fun, and I can.
Oh, like the fucking kid? What was his name?
Julian. That, again,
Julian,
niche
of
meme that
course.
no one understands. Watch
Yeah,
Generation Hope.
if you're not a
Their
real
entire
Generation Hope
bibliography.
fan... To be perfectly honest, that probably meant that Graham could go back to his station and say it was just a rat or something. Must have been the wind. But he hadn't gotten this far in life by half-assing his work. He says without a partner, without updated security equipment, and without working automatics. Graham took another step forward, peering into the cargo hold of the Woven Knot. His light scanned over the inside of the ship, passing over bound-down metal crates and transport consoles bolted to the walls. Usually, in cases like this, stowaways would use some sort of smuggling compartment built into the ship by unscrupulous owners, or they hid inside one of the transport crates themselves, though that often resulted in death by suffocation. Usually served them right if you needed to get somewhere, just buy a ticket. "Warning you now!" Graham called into the darkness, his voice gravelly from the hours since he'd last spoken. "I've got a gun and I know how to use it! Make things easy for yourself!" The only thing that answered him was silence, save for the faint humming of machinery. Looked like they were going to make him work for it. Blowing out his breath of air, Graham unhooked his pistol from its holster. Maybe they'd get a second shot for his troubles. He took a step forward into the ship, metal creaking under his boot. Something rushed by his vision, a flash of silver light that shines by him in an instant, clearly the reflection of something metallic. Graham barked out a near incoherent command, raised his arms to point his pistol at the source of the disturbance, only to find that both his arms had been cleanly severed at the elbow. Huh? That was his last thought. The light flashed by again, and at the very same time that the first twinges of pain began to make themselves known, Graham's head fell from his shoulders. See what I said, guys? All this talk just to kill the character off to show off the power level. I fucking called it. Tanhony, I can read you like a book.
There are
no
tropes.
pun intended.
Well, what do you mean? I made no secret of it. These are tropes. This is how these scenes go.
Listen,
If the security
you know it's a
guard
Tanhony
sees something in a fucking darkened building and he goes in alone, he's dead to show off that there is.
You know it's a Tanhony story if someone dies to show off the power level, but first they build up with all their thoughts. When a random NPC is given that much character and they don't have a name, you know they're gonna die.
They have a name, it's Graham.
Oh, of course, sorry, Graham. Before the head of the security guard could hit the floor, it was snatched out of the air by one of the group and crushed by the powerful jaws of Anduin. The hunched-over figure was naked, save for a flushed emoji? Save for a pair of filthy, torn-apart jeans, his finger and toenails grown out and sharpened like claws. His body was perpetually emaciated. Oh, never mind, gross. Ribs and bones clearly visible through the indentations on his skin. Even the shape of his skull was visible through his head. Stray tufts of black hair pulled down from his mostly bare scalp, a contrast to the gray hair poking out from between his teeth as he chewed the stolen skull. Streams of tears spilled out from his eyes as he swallowed the slurry the head had been reduced to, sobs racking his body as he gorged himself. Oh my god, this kind of character. Sorry, he wept, even as he dragged the rest of the body over with his hands and brought the shoulder up to his mouth. Sorry, so sorry. Oh god. It's no biggie, Anduin, chuckled a suave voice from the darkness. If he doesn't have the good sense to tell when he's in danger, he's got no business being alive in the first place. The speaker stepped forward into the light still shining from the corpse's collarbone, as if it were the spotlight on a stage. There was no shortage of killers and murderers in the galaxy. If there was a human being, there was an assassin willing to take money to kill them. Among those assassins, there was no formal ranking system. The lawless nature of their work prevented that. Oh, thank you for rationalizing something that is the norm in all things except anime. But a general consensus came about whenever you had a community. Animals could sense which of them was the strongest. Wait a minute, I thought Fifth Dead was the strongest. What's this bullshit?
Well, he was never the strongest. He was just like a strong guy.
In the criminal community, Eli Massador was called the King of Killers, or Cock for short. As he stepped into view, the segments of the whip sword he'd used to dispatch the guard locked back into place, and he slipped the weapon back into its holster. He ran a hand through his bleached blonde hair and wrinkled his nose as he watched Anduin quickly devour the corpse. So Anduin's apology guy and Eli is suave guy, right?
Well, I think his more prominent aspect for Anduin is like cannibal.
Okay, Anduin's cannibal and Eli is suave guy.
Yeah. And halfway through writing Eli, like, I started hearing fucking Billy Butcher in my head, so that's why I started writing his dialogue as.
Brilliant. Who's Billy Butcher?
From The Boys. Diabolical.
Oh, yes! Yes! I haven't seen The Boys in a while. I remember we bonded over that. Is there a season 3 coming?
I think so.
Fog. All in all, it took the wretch only around 30 seconds to erase all evidence of the murder, even licking up the blood that had pooled onto the floor. His task complete, Anduin curled into a ball, whimpering to himself. Right, lads! Eli, is this like where we see the rest of the team in shadows till they're revealed as they arrive?
Right, that's... it's fucking diabolical.
Do you want me to read him like that? I can do my best, but I won't do a good job. Right, lads! Eli Macedora called out, flipping the collar of his fur coat as he addressed the shadowy cargo hold. Looks like we've made landfall, so if you'll be kind enough to evacuate the premises and get on with our mutual business. It's not really a suave voice, but I can do a Billy Butcher.
Yeah, maybe that's...
This little gas...
this
little gather... Do you want me to do the Billy Butcher?
No, it's fine.
Okay. The little gathering had no leader. They'd come together for a mutual opportunity. But the word of Eli Macedora held weight all this. I love how you always write a character's full name. It can never just be Eli. It's always like Eli Macedora, Roy Oliphant. One by one, the assassins that had infiltrated the Woven Knot walked out, taking their first steps onto the Cradle. The day we get a character that's only referred to by one... Oh, wait, that's Skipper. Skipper's like the share of the group.
Yeah.
It was quite the crowd, a veritable red carpet of murder. The enigmatic King Smile? Wait, isn't that a character from fucking Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Or am I crazy?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Remember when Falcon was like disguised as some criminal and when they went to the one place? Wasn't he like Smile or something?
I don't know what he's called. I'm certain he wasn't called King Smile.
He was called like Smiley or King, or like he was like the King Smile or something. Yeah, look it up.
Can we have a look?
The enigmatic King Smile, surrounded... But I thought the other guy was the King of Killers. Now there's too many kings! Surrounded by a perpetual haze of white and gray. Maybe they're like the ring wraiths. They're all kings. Surrounded by a perpetual haze of white and gray aether, like videograph static, cocked the massive monitor that encased his head as he stepped out of the ship. When you say monitor, do you mean like CRT or like plasma screen?
Like a CRT.
Cool. The neon green grinning face that flickered on his monitor switched to a surprised expression. Oh, I love this aesthetic. I love like TV head looking ass motherfuckers. Switched to a surprised expression for a moment as the bizarre man took his first look at the Cradle. Then, without so much as a final word to his traveling companions, he charged off in a blur of movement. Grotto and Samantha Helkin chuckled at a private joke between themselves. Grotto helping his wife down the ramp with his one remaining hand. Alright, calling it now. One of them's gonna die fighting the crew and the other one's gonna get rage boosted. Probably Samantha's gonna get rage boosted. Calling it now. They were unusual among the assassins in the way they weren't unusual. If you saw them in a crowd, you'd never so much as glance twice at the young couple. Dark hair and casual clothes. The only thing about them capable of drawing attention being the murderous gleam in their eyes. Anduin, the wretched thing, nibbled at his lips nervously as he crawled out of the ship on all fours. His fearful eyes flicked in every direction, taking in every possible source of danger in a split second. He said nothing, but the rumbling of his stomach was already audible. The gluttonous creature was never satisfied for long. He's so emaciated, though. Is this like the thirst version, but like hunger? Like with your SCP thirst?
I guess.
He's just so hungry.
He's so hungry.
There were more, needless to say, hired killers of every shape and size. But they were fodder, small fry, brought along for quantity rather than quality. There were only two reasons in this business to remember somebody's name: if they were capable of killing you, or if you'd been hired to kill them. The peanut gallery didn't meet either of those conditions. Fucking little employees. I hope one of the peanut gallery becomes their own standout character later. And of course, the king of killers himself, Eli Macedora, stretched as he finally got out of the limiting confines of the Woven Knot, taking pleasure in the series of cracks from his tired joints. The mob of murderers turned to glance at him as he stepped out into the dark hangar, as if looking for his approval to proceed. Hunter game, eh? He mused, flipping open his script as he scanned through the rules one last time. The rates were good, and it sounded like a lark. What does that mean? I'm not British.
It means like a fun time.
He grinned up at his fellows. Best of luck to you, lads. May the best man win and all that tosh. How British is this guy?
He became more British as I wrote him.
What the fuck is tosh?
He's like, oh, that rubbish.
Can't you just use normal words?
No, it's not authentic if I don't. You say tosh.
You were the... Okay. The next time... Okay, Wigan boy. The next time Eli Macedora left the station, he knew his blade would be coated with elephant blood. Oh, dude, hell yeah. That line slaps. Now, popcorn.
And Carla, Keiko hissed over the script. What the hell is going on? Did you get that message too? Carla swallowed. She strode down the hallway of the Oliphant compound, script pressed tight against her ear. Ever since the Hunter game message had been sent out, the remaining family members at headquarters had been in uproar. They'd only just lost one family member, and already they were under threat of losing countless more.
How funny would it be if, like, almost all the elephants die, and then what's-his-fuck on planet, like, nowhere comes back, and he's like, looks like there's a position open for a new head of family.
I just woke up from my coma.
He just in time.
Everyone got it, Carla replied, her voice grim as she paused by a foggy window. All the family members and their subordinates, at least. Did you get one? With a swipe of her fingers across the windowsill, emergency measures were activated, and heavy shutters slid down to cover the potential opening. Snipers will be a serious risk going forward. She needs to keep her awareness as sharp as possible. I didn't know, Keiko replied, but Kosh Del said contacted me. Apparently he got one, so whoever's doing this must know he's on the station. Carla nodded. Makes sense, I didn't consider that. Kosh mention anything else? No, nothing. There was a pause over the call, and when Keiko spoke again, it was with a kind of dawning horror. Oh god, you don't think he'll...
Side note, the Oliphants are like the crime family, right?
In the Supremacy, yes.
Why can't they just, like, pay double the rates of the Hunter game and be like, now go find whoever set this up?
Well, because the situation sort of fucked on them.
I guess. Huh.
Carla bit her lip as she planted her hand against the metal shutter, taking comfort in the chill that radiated out into her body. I don't think he'll go after either of us, she said slowly, turning the words over in her mouth experimentally. Seeing as they're already getting a paycheck out of us, they'll want to double dip if possible, going after other targets while working for us at the same time. We can't let him do that. Caution was absent from Keiko's voice as she cried out. What if he goes after Chloe or Rico or Scout or someone else from the family? Relax. It was Carla's voice to hiss to remind Keiko of the secrecy of their endeavour. We can still manoeuvre this. We'll feed Cartman as a...
Why is it saying endeavour isn't spelled right? What the
I don't
fuck?
know.
Oh, because you did it British. It shouldn't have that U in there, idiot.
We can still manoeuvre this. We'll feed Cartman as subordinates, ones we know can't be trusted not to participate in this game to keep him happy. Then, as soon as we figure out who he's working for last year, we eliminate him. Won't he figure that out, though? Keiko whispered anxiously. He's not stupid. Carla's next words were...
Actually, no. I noticed. You've been spelling words British, and they've been misspelled. It says because your locale's set to American, you should change it to British English when you click on it.
I see.
And now you'll stop getting errors every time you spell words British.
How do I change it?
When you click it, left click, it should say change locale to British English. Look at that. And although now it wants you to spell maneuver the super British way, which is like a little crazy.
Okay. Carla's next words were hurried. There were two people walking down the hallway towards her, and she didn't want to be overheard. We'll play it by ear. Gotta go. Love you. She clicked the script off, turning to her siblings as they reached her. The muscle-bound Roy towering over the road Valentina. Hey, Carla, Roy rumbled, his arm around his younger sister. It's okay if we talk for a sec. His voice changes every fucking chapter. Life preserve.
I forgot it already.
Valentina was muttering, her own arms pulled tight around herself. Oh, I preserve. Carla had always been somewhat distant from other siblings. There wasn't much of an age difference between them, but they were from different generations all the same. She'd been born in a time before their father, Abraham, had started really putting an effort into building up his dynasty, the child of a prostitute rather than a partner selected for the resources they could provide for the syndicates. As such, she was more of a direct subordinate to their father rather than the head of a subfamily like the rest. That was an advantage in some ways, a disadvantage in others. Like now, her own siblings approaching her like they were making a petition to a superior. What's up? Carla asked, slipping her script into the pocket of her skirts. Rico, Valentina said, her ringed fingers fidgeting. I haven't seen him since Jack... Well, nobody's seen him. Nobody knows where he is. And this message, if he's out there in the city, he's in danger. Shit. Carla clicked her tongue. He left right after the murder? I haven't seen him since then, Valentina repeated. Roy jabbed a fun at himself, his brow furrowed seriously. I already said I'm willing to go get the kid. There's nothing more manly than looking after your own, but you said we should set up shop like this was a siege. Staying in a secure location with only our most trusted subordinates, right? I'm going after him, though, if you think it's the right call. His voice developed over the course of that fucking sentence.
He's going through puberty.
It was unlikely that those playing the Hunter game would be able to take out Roy Oliphant Dawkins easily, but still. Go get him, Colin nodded. Bring him back here safe, but try to avoid letting anyone see you. Can't be too careful.
God, what the fuck was my Roy voice?
I don't know. Roy nodded, grinning, but it was obvious that none of Carla's words regarding caution had actually reached him. Like a big child, he bounded down the hallway, arms pumping as he ran on his way. He'll be alright, Valentina muttered, more to reassure herself than anything else. Rico, I mean, he'll be alright. We've taught him well, paid for the best tutors. He knows how to look after himself. It'll be alright. Carla opened her arms to give her younger sister a hug, pulling her close. That's right, she whispered, rubbing her back. It'll be alright. It was a lie, of course. After a night like tonight, she doubted anyone would be alright. Popcorn.
Oh, shit. Their little group, Dragon, Ruth, Bruno, and Rico, charged down the street. Oh, shit, we're getting a message from a guest. Can you talk to them while I read? Charged down the street, trying to ignore the curious gazes of the countless merchants and passers-by of the marketplace. Heads stuck out of stalls, eyes tracked them, and Dragon couldn't help but feel like there was a flash of greed in most of those looks. The greed of a beast?
No, worse. The greed of a human.
Damn. Had they received the Hunter game rules too, then? There was no way of telling how far that had been circulated. The second page of the document contained names and faces for all the direct family members and their closest subordinates, so anyone who had gotten them would know Rico Oliphant Blanco on sight. Can you say something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. A number of main roads had been closed, probably by design, immediately after the Hunter game rules had gone out, so they were being forced to take a circuitous, roundabout path to get back to the Oliphant compound. Dragon grimaced as they reached the end of the marketplace, seeing the next street they'd have to make their way through. It was absolutely packed with people, an ocean of bobbing heads. If they tried to move through that, it would be child's play for someone to just shank Rico as they passed by. He jerked his head over to the side, towards an alcove adjacent to the marketplace, and the group made their way into it. This isn't going to work, Dragon said seriously. We keep going this way, we're just making ourselves easy targets. Ruth nodded grimly. Her face was still concealed behind her skeletal mask, but Dragon was willing to bet her expression was just as grave. What do we do then? Move on to the rooftops? Dragon shook his head. You'd probably be able to make it back quick if you were on your own, but if we're moving as a unit, that's just going to slow us down. We'd be easy targets for snipers. Rico frowned. Well, what then? We can't go forward, we can't go up. Dragon put a hand to his chin, mulling over their options. His eyes flicked over to Bruno, who was still holding his script in his hands. Any luck? Bruno scowled. Nope. Skipper's still not picking up no matter how many times I call. Damn it, when the hell was that idiot doing? Writer mistake, cinema sin.
New world order. There is no mistake.
Dragon looked back to Rico. And your script isn't making calls, right? Stopped working right after receiving the Hunter game rules. Rico sighed. Maybe there was a virus attached with the file or something. What do you think? Why the hell would I know? Casual racism. Shaking my head. Cogitants never get rest. Doesn't matter, Dragon grunted. We'll just have to go about this another way. If the rest of us can find another hiding place to keep safe for the time being, one of us can quickly move back to the headquarters, get some help, and come back to get all of us safe. You want me to head back and get Skipper then? Ruth asked. Maybe not. If the two of us stay with Rico, my Gemini shotgun can handle defense, and you can handle offense. Bruno and Serena have offense and defense all in one body, so they're probably the best to make the trip back. He turned to them. Is that okay with you guys? Serena nodded happily. Sure! We're real fast, so we can be back in a flash! Right, that's not Serena's voice. What am I doing?
That was pretty close.
Sure! Alright, right, get going then. The Delsed pair didn't need anything more than that. With a flare of violet aether, Serena leapt up off the ground and pulled herself up onto the roof of the adjoining building, disappearing from view. Okay, Dragon went on, eyes flicking between Ruth and Rika. A lot of eye flicking. Now we find somewhere to lay low. Bruno could understand why Ruth liked this sort of thing so much. Up here, away from the hustle and bustle on the streets, there was a distinct sense of freedom. He imagined the only thing above this sensation would be actually flying over the buildings, which Dragon did once, right? When he did, like, his Gemini bullshit?
He didn't fly.
Or was that Ruth's? They talked about, like, feeling like flying in Arc 5. He drew on free-running training he'd received from the UAP as he maneuvered across the rooftops, barely touching the ground for more than a moment at a time as he hopped from foothold to foothold. Moving this way, it wouldn't take too long to reach the elephant compound, no matter how quickly he went. But he didn't want to waste a second where the others could be in danger. Most of this area was under construction, so there wasn't much in terms of people to watch out for. A few workers coming off their shifts maybe, but their eyes were easy to avoid. Bruno dropped into a roll as he leapt from a communication tower onto the second story of an apartment building. The entire complex was coated in a thick layer of dust that would surely be scrubbed away when construction was completed. But even so, it made his footsteps feel heavy and clumsy as he continued to run. His script rang. "Mr. Skipper!" Serena cried enthusiastically. "He finally got back to us, Bruno!" Wait, there's no... Oh, it's back. Never mind. Yeah. Damn it! I always want to catch you, and I never do. "Took him long enough," Bruno muttered, skidding to a halt as he put the script to his ear. "Skipper, situation's bad. We need you to..." It wasn't Skipper. What was this guy's voice again? Kind of smug.
A little bit smug, but not like cartoonishly smug.
"Yo, Bruno," said Cotty and
That's it. That's Cot. Yeah.
Bruno's eyes widened, and in the very same moment a bullet slammed into his foot at sickening speeds. He was immediately sent sprawling down onto the floor. He Ned falls. The front of his left foot utterly demolished by the blow. The projectile had gone right through his aether defenses, mangling his toes and lodging into the floor. Is this why his hands are mangled?
Well, maybe not. This is...
Well, think about it. Their whole thing is they use aether to correct their hands and they're normally mangled, and you just described like his feet getting all mangled. Was it because they got in a fight with Cot?
Perhaps we'll find out more.
What I'm hearing is I came up with a good theory that you're going to incorporate, hopefully. That's my lore. Cot, the hunter game, Dragon and Ruth, Skipper, the attack, the bleeding, all the different concerns swirled around within Bruno's skull, and for a moment a distinct sense of nausea welled up in his throat. What was happening? What the hell was happening? His vision swam unclear as if he were about to pass out. Every breath felt like he was vomiting up razors. No. Bruno shook his head, trying in vain to clear out the cobwebs of confusion. But it was no use. All of this was too much. All of this was too much. Long dead hands were tearing out his fingernails. Black blurs were burning at his eyeballs. Bruno Delsed fled to the back of his own mind and slammed the door shut behind him. Caught. Serena Delsed stood up to face the enemy. Pain was no object in her current state of mind. She stood as heavy on her damaged foot as she did on her good one. Her eyes were wide with fury, pupils dilated to their utmost, angry saliva dripping from her bare teeth. Rabies, Serena? Her enemy wasn't visible, but she knew that it was here. "Cut!" She screamed out into the night with the hatred of a feral dog. "Kill you! Kill you!" It's so weird to do Serena's voice angry. It's really hard. Sword sharpened in her hands, ready to taste blood. Banger chapter 10. I'm excited to hear more about the lore between them. I will say, I feel like you need a few more descriptors than eyes widened. I feel like I read it like twice a chapter at least.
I'll do my best.
But by and large, I swear I'm not just trying to bully you. Your prose is really good. I enjoyed reading this. It was exciting for a chapter. I want to land that that's the exception, not the norm. I also learned something after you corrected the British and still had errors. I don't think it's that you spell things just because you grew up in England. I think you spell things based on whichever one is simpler. Like with maneuver in real life.
I have my own language.
Yeah, the Tanhony dialect.
I write it
all right, but yeah, that
feel like it.
I just want to assure you, so you don't feel bad. This was an amazing chapter, written well. Just a few things that you might want to work on.
I know.
Okay. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.